Okay, thank you.
Here.
All right. So I'm going to go ahead and call the meeting to order. And today is Tuesday, July 5th, 2022. And this is the meeting of the Templeton Community Service District's Board of Directors. And I'd like to thank all board members for meeting remotely this evening. Hopefully we'll be back in the boardroom next meeting. But in light of the recent outbreak of COVID-19 at the district office, we're doing this meeting remotely out of abundance of caution. So with that, I'll ask our board secretary to do a roll call, please.
Directors English,
Here.
Cardonish,
Here.
Gardini,
Here.
Logan,
Here.
and Peterson.
Here.
Okay, and with that, if you wouldn't mind muting your phone and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, and with that, would any board member like to change the order of business this evening? We have only one item of new business, so I'm going to assume that no is the answer to that. So I'll answer that question myself. Public comments, I believe we do have some members of the public on this call this evening. Members of the public may address the board on any item of interest within the district's jurisdiction, which is not on tonight's agenda. In compliance with the Brown Act, the board cannot discuss or act upon items not on tonight's agenda. However, board members of the district district staff members may briefly respond to statements made or questions posed by the public. Additionally, on their own initiative or in response to questions posed by the public, a board or staff member may ask a question for clarification. The board may also request staff to respond back to the body at a subsequent meeting concerning any matter or to take action to direct staff to place a matter of business on a future agenda. So with that, I'm going to open it up to members of the public this evening. If any member of the public wishes to address the board at this time, you may do so. We have 10 participants on the call. So I'm going to ask if you use the reaction icon at the bottom of the screen and raise your hand, then our board secretary can call upon you. So would any member of the public wish to address the board at this time? Okay, hearing and seeing none, I'll move to our consent agenda. And these are items that are normally considered routine and non-controversial. But before I open it up for a motion to be made, I'd like to ask if any board member would like to pull any of the items that are on tonight's consent agenda, which consists of the minutes of the June 21st, 2022 meeting, resolution number 13-2022, the Community Facilities District assessment amount, and resolution number 14-2022, which is the Measure A, and consider approving that resolution, adopting the annual consumer price index adjustment to the maximum, which is the 2%. And that would be for fiscal year 2022, 2023. So with that, would any member of the board wish to pull any of those three items?
President Logan, I was not present at the meeting of June 21st, so I will just need to abstain from that vote.
Okay, thank you for that reminder. Okay, any other comments or items that any board member wishes to pull? Okay, with that, I'm going to open it up to members of the public before we have a motion to approve those three items. So with that, would any member of the public like to comment on the consent agenda that's before the board for its consideration? And if so, please unmute your phone. Okay, hearing and seeing none. I'll make a motion that we approve item A first, and then we'll move to a second motion for items B and C, since Director English was not present at the minutes of the, or was not present at the July 20, or the June 21st, 2022 meeting. So I'll make a motion that the board adopt the regular meeting minutes of June 21st, 2022.
I'll second.
Okay. So we have a motion made by Director Logan, seconded by Director Giardini. Can we have a roll call, please?
Directors Logan,
Aye.
Giardini,
Yes.
English,
Phyllis,
Abstain.
Bardonish,
Aye.
and Peterson.
Yes.
okay, so that motion carries 4-0 with one abstaining. And we'll move now to the other two items on the agenda, consent agenda, Resolution 13-2022, the Community Facilities District assessment amount, and Resolution number 14-2022, the Measure A, to adjust that for the Consumer Price Index. So I'll make a motion that the board approve items B and C of the consent agenda. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, so we have a motion made by Director Logan, seconded by Director Giardini. Can we have a roll call, please?
Directors Logan,
Aye.
Giardini,
Yes.
English,
Aye.
Bardonish,
Aye.
and Peterson.
Yes.
Okay, that motion carries 5-0. And that is passed. We'll move now to our new business, which is public hearing. And this is for resolution number 15-2022, the county tax roll. And this is for the board will conduct a public hearing, consider any protest or objections, and if appropriate, adopt resolution number 15-2022, adopting the report of streetlight assessments, weed abatement fees, and delinquent water and sewer charges, Measure A partial tax, and the Community Facilities District, also known as the CFD, and authorize their collection on the county tax roll. And with that, I'll open up this topic to the public to make any comments that they would like to make on this particular item. So if any member of the public would like to address the board on this topic, and before I do that, maybe perhaps what I should do is, General Manager, if maybe you should provide some background on all of these, because it's a little bit to absorb.
Okay, happy to. Actually, Natalie Clark is here tonight, and she can comment on the each of these particular items. Again, there are one action, but four distinct assessments and fees.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. So we have four separate items. We have the streetlight assessments that total $8,525.80. We have two water and sewer delinquent charges that total $3,040.42. And those are two utility billing accounts that have been shut off since January, and they're empty. Then we have, you should have received a new exhibit earlier today. We did earlier have 4 weed abatement parcels to go onto the property tax roll, but we did have one pay on Friday. So the new total for that is going to be $3,310. I believe we have 25 parcels that will be going on to the CFD assessment for a total of $35,287. And then we also have the Measure A parcels that total $509,442. And let's see, the Templeton Fire and Emergency Services notified the local media regarding the weed abatement requirements. A flyer went out in the utility bills at the end of April. And then any property owner who was in violation were mailed notices on May 18th, and then they were invoiced June 27th for non-compliance. As I mentioned before, we have the 2 delinquent utility accounts that have been shut off since January. We've made numerous attempts to contact those accounts. Then we also have the streetlight assessments. And then the Board of Directors adopted the ordinance number 2017-01 to create the Community Facilities District for new residential and commercial development to ensure that new development pays their fair share of the increase in demand for emergency services. So that's on there as well. And then we also have, in August 2019, the Board of Directors placed a ballot measure before the voters to provide the 24/7 days a week staffed fire and emergency services, and that's Measure A, and that's on there as well this evening. And so I'm just asking that we open the public hearing to accept these parcels to be placed on the property tax roll.
Okay, thank you for that. And these are all items that the district normally pursues as a means of collecting by assessing the property tax for delinquent water and sewer, correct?
Correct.
And then the weed abatement as well. And the weed abatement is where the district has incurred the expense to do the weed abatement after the property owner has refused to do it, if you will.
Correct. So
And-
right, we pay the weed abatement contractor, and then this is how we collect our payment.
Yeah, to reimburse us for the expense incurred. And the Measure A, it has a 2% CPI cap. And then the CFD, the Community Facilities District, that has a different CPI adjustment because I believe that's what I don't see it in front of me right now. I want to say 5.38%. Does that sound right? For the CFD?
CFD was 5.36%.
5.36. Okay, so I just want to make it clear that these are just a multitude of different fees and expenses that the district is looking to recoup by means of assessing the county property tax and using that as a means. So I want to make sure that it's clear to the public. So with that, I'm going to open it up to the members of the public. You may ask questions or comment on this particular resolution. And please feel free to introduce yourself and ask questions. So if you would like to speak, we only have really 2 members of the public, so I'll let you go ahead and address any questions that you have. Okay, it doesn't seem like we have any public wishing to comment on this particular item. Have we received any written communication from the public on this particular item?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Okay. Okay, thank you for that. So I'll bring it back to the board. Do any board members have questions on this particular item before we make a motion?
No.
Okay. Yes, Director Giardini? Did you have a question?
No, I just said, no, I don't have a question.
Oh, okay, thank you. Do I have a motion then to approve resolution 15-2022, adopting reports on streetlights assessment and delinquent water and sewer charges, delinquent weed abatement fees, community facilities districts, the CFD 2017-1 assessments and Measure A partial tax, and authorizing their collection on the county tax roll?
So moved.
Okay, do I have a second? I'll second it. Okay, so we have a motion made by Director Giardini, seconded by Director Logan. May we have a roll call, please?
Directors Giardini,
Yes.
Logan,
Aye.
English,
Aye.
Pardonish,
Aye.
and Peterson.
Yes.
Okay, that motion passes 5-0. We'll now move to our general manager's report, and I'll turn it over to General Manager Burrows.
Yes, thank you very much. I'm hoping your audio experiences are better than mine. I'll need a new place to do this if I have to do it from home again. Just a few items to note. One, we're coming off the 4th of July holiday weekend. That's always a pretty exciting time in Templeton. Plenty going on over the weekend and yesterday, kind of back to our traditional community offerings with the pancake breakfast and the parade and activities in the park. And of course, lots of both safe and sane and not so safe and sane fireworks in use that I'm sure you all heard and saw. There were 4 small fires, nothing of note. That's kind of common for the 4th day and evening for Templeton Fire and Emergency Services, but nothing, no calls of particular noteworthiness. Probably the next item I want to kind of talk to you about a little bit is some of the issues that we've been dealing with COVID-19. Hopefully you've been in receipt of my email updates to you over the past, say, 10 days or so. Just to remind you on, we've been dealing with COVID, all of us, of course, for nearly 2.5 years now. Very unfortunate. But nonetheless, the district really, although we've had isolated cases, up until about 10 days ago, we hadn't had a major impact or an outbreak as defined by state law. An outbreak is 3 or more employees at a work site or one work unit. So about 10 days ago, we had 3 cases come up all in one afternoon and evening. And so that affected our utility crew. 2 days later, we had a 4th member of that same crew test positive. So it was an outbreak. We operated all of last week with really just 2 of our 6 operators. It was pretty challenging. We did have to do some rearranging of priorities to get through the week. But have made it today, 3 of those folks. So we're looking forward to kind of more normalcy there. Midweek last week, we also had an employee in the district office test positive. It was determined after some investigation that that case was possibly linked to the first outbreak. And so the district office location is part of the same outbreak at this point. And so we've gone into some heightened protocols in those 2 work areas that includes minimizing contact with other employees, especially other employees who are not impacted by the outbreak, masking. We moved all of our meetings to Zoom, those kinds of minimizing any personal contact, et cetera. Since then, we've had another employee test positive for COVID-19, not related to the outbreak, and didn't have any contact with the employees that were. That person was actually gone for the prior couple of weeks, came back with it. So at this point, we've got three of our work areas dealing with some COVID issues, but we're making it through. Parks and Recreation will have some limited hours this week just to navigate the staffing shortages, but we should be looking better with the utility crew. The district office is open. We haven't had to alter hours yet based on COVID absences, and we need to go 14 days amongst the work folks, the staff that are part of the outbreak. So that's about maybe about half the district staff, full-time staff, a little bit more than that, that are part of this outbreak unit. We need to go 14 days without another positive case to end the outbreak status. So that's what we're looking forward to. But it's somewhat interesting that we've gone this long, again, nearly 2.5 years now, and haven't really again, been impacted like we have just over the past couple weeks with regards to services to the public. So based on COVID cases, no serious cases to report. I'm sure the people who are going through it didn't have a great time, but I would classify the cases as sort of mild or moderate cases based on based on what I know. Nobody needed special medical care. So and again, seem to be on the mend. So that's where we stand on the COVID cases. I'll certainly keep you up to date if anything changes. We're doing our best to navigate the situation. Happy to take any questions if you have any. I think I've maybe lost you.
Thank you. I muted my phone and helping your audio. Any questions from members of the board? Okay, any questions from members of the public for our general manager? Okay, hearing and seeing none. Thank you very much for that update. And I believe committee reports, we don't have any committee reports in this agenda this evening, and none in our packets. Director English, do you have a tag update?
I do not have a tag update, but I have a TRF update.
Okay,
And actually, it is a reminder that this weekend is the TRF Beer Run. So if you want to participate, it is Saturday morning at Barrel House Brewery over in Tin City. The race starts at 8 o'clock in the morning. Registration starts at 7. It is a 5K run that is already mapped out. So if you want to participate, you can run that 5K. If you're not much of a runner, there is a 0.5K where you run around the parking lot and then return to the building. So for those of you who are not runners, myself included. If you are not interested in participating but are available and would be interested in donating your time to volunteer, we are looking for volunteers. We would appreciate you showing up at Barrel House between 6:30 and 7 on Saturday. The race lasts about an hour or so, and you're usually out of there relatively quickly in the morning. So we have lighter than normal registration, still a good turnout, but if you know some folks who are runners, remind them about this event. It's actually a lot of fun. I've been doing this for a number of years now and would encourage you to come out and help out if you can. It's a good fundraiser for TRF. And as a reminder, all of the money that is raised by the Templeton Recreation Foundation goes back to Templeton Recreation in one form or another. So if anybody has any questions, be happy to answer questions. That's my report.
thank you for that. And I appreciate the reminder about the beer run. Any questions for Director English regarding the beer run? I'll open it up to the public if members of the public have any questions regarding the beer run. Okay, I too have participated in the past in volunteering, and it's interesting to see how many people drink beer at 9 o'clock in the morning. I'm not a beer drinker, but I'm always surprised at how many people are taking a little swig of beer and then going out and running. But it is a good cause. So I'm glad to see that that's back this year. And certainly we appreciate Barrel House and all they do to support this fundraiser for the Park and Recreation Department. So moving on then to activities updates. We do have a staff report from our district engineer in the packet. Any questions from members of the board regarding Tina Mayer's report? I want to make a note of under water conservation rebate program. I know this is near and dear to you, Director English, but she does have here noted that to date, there's been 11 lawn removal rebate applications submitted, 3 of which have been completed. So I think that's good news, given where we're at with the drought and our water situation. So that's good news that people are taking advantage of that. So any other comments regarding the engineer's report? Okay, members of the public, any comments or questions regarding the report, the engineer's report? Okay, then let's move on to the district director's reports and or comments. Any reports on meetings or activities on behalf of the district that any director would like to report on? Okay, seeing none. I just want to mention that again, hopefully we'll be back in the boardroom for an in-person board meeting, which will be, I believe, the 19th of July. I suspect, and I'm keeping my fingers crossed, that our current situation will be rectified by then. And we won't have to deal with some of the audio challenges that we've had this evening with the Zoom call. For the next meeting, we have a resolution approval of the Integrated Waste Management Agreement, the joint, the JPA. We also have a strategic plan status update and where we're at with our 3-year strategic plan. So those are the 2 items that, and then the resolution requesting consolidation of the district's biennial elections with the November consolidation general election. So that'll be on the agenda as well. So we've got those 3 items tentatively scheduled for our next meeting. There may be other items that are added, but that's what we have right now. So with that, I'll adjourn the meeting, and it is now 7:29. So thank you, everyone, and have a good evening.
Good night, all.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.